In
accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 remote meeting of the Franklin Township Trails Advisory Committee was posted on the Township website and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating that this remote meeting would take place via WebEx at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022.
Okay. All righty, let me get adjusted here. Okay, you want me to do the roll call?
Please.
Okay, Vanessa Jones.
Present.
Anne Marie Orleski.
Present.
Chuck Martin.
Here.
Mark Fortin.
Here.
Jim Kolagowski.
Here.
Christopher Gonda.
Here.
John Hurling.
Here.
And I believe that's it, right? Did I miss anyone? Okay.
Okay. Hold on one second, sorry. Okay. Can we have a motion to approve the September 2022 minutes?
So move.
Have a second?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
A second.
All right.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I know Mark is abstaining. Any other abstentions? Any?
Oh, I should abstain because I wasn't there.
Okay. So John and Mark are abstaining and the rest of us are in favor. Thank you. Were there any comments about the minutes or any questions?
I guess I have one. I'm getting a bit concerned about the IT's ability to post these videos, as well as posting a lot of other stuff, which you might want to talk about later on in the meeting as well. Is there something we can do to get these people to get it right and get it on?
What's missing, Chuck? The YouTube?
The YouTube video, I made mention of it in these minutes that let me pull up the minutes for what it said, but it's I put an editing note. The video of the September 14th, 2022 meeting is unavailable. The meeting posted at this YouTube address is a duplicate copy of the August 2022 meeting. And you know, quite frankly, I try to take notes. I'm not a very good note taker. I never was. That's why I usually talk to students and made them take notes. but I go back to these videos, and that's how I verify what's going on and to try to get the verbiage right and so on. And
Yeah,
it's just not there. And not only that, but the minutes are not posted on the website. And it's not just us, it's Open Space, it's the Shade Tree Commission, it's the Environmental Commission.
yeah.
All these things are not, you know, you go back to any of these commission meeting minutes and it's like they stopped in like 2013 or there's just 2 years of them, maybe 2011, 2012. And
Yeah, so the problem with the posted minutes, because the Environmental Commission brought this to my attention that the minutes weren't there, and I went back and looked, and I said, where the heck are all the minutes? Because they were there, and then they weren't there. So I think what happened when the website transferred over to our new website, a bunch of things got missing. So I put requests in the other day to update the open space, trails, Environmental Commission, and Ag Advisory for what was there and what was missing. And I noticed today it's been updated. So I think some things got lost in the shuffle, but the YouTube, I don't know about that. I can definitely follow up on that.
let me check just to see if the minutes are there now.
I'm looking now, the only ones we're missing are May, which we didn't have, and August is not there, but the agenda isn't either, so I think we didn't meet in August.
Um,
We met on August 10th.
We did meet for sure?
I have notes, yep.
Oh, the
Well,
agenda's not even there, okay.
I'm looking at open space, because it came up first. And,
Oh, open space, you can't go by open space only because there's a separate issue with the open space minutes, that's not IT's fault.
Tara, that's the
Uh,
meeting
well-
when Dawn Flanders came and did the PowerPoint with us.
Oh, right, and the agenda's not there on the website either, so we're missing August for trails. And that's it for trails, but I know what you're talking about with open space, Chuck, that's that's a separate reason why those minutes aren't there.
okay, I'm just checking the trails myself to see what I can get. And I see an agenda on the upcoming tracks meeting. I don't see.
Oh, you-
I don't
I can
the-
see, I
You
can
have
see
to
for
click all-
trails, we go back to 2014, so they must have fixed their problem, because I see,
Yeah,
I see the agenda for the October, it's not up to date as of tonight, but from October 12th before, it goes back to 2014, and yeah, they missed the agenda and minutes for the August
for
meeting.
August, yeah, Chuck, when you're on
Uh,
that website, you have to go on the top where it says all passed. Above the minutes, you'll see it says, it has like all passed, and let me look what else it says, you have to click on that, and that's when the minutes. So right above the table, it says like today, next 7 days, next 30 days, all upcoming. You have to click on the next one, all passed, and
All
that's when you can
passed.
see all of the minutes and agenda.
Okay, yes, thank you. I can see that now. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. The YouTube though, I'll follow up on because I don't know why that's not posted, but you're right, it should be, so I'll follow up.
Well, I just, it seemed to me like we were getting into a pervasive problem with these postings. Not only that, but when we were working in Parks and Rec to get them posted, I know Gloria was having to have difficulty posting these
Yeah,
reservation requests. It's not just us.
yeah.
So anyway,
All
thanks.
right, yeah.
So we'll keep working on it.
Thank
I'll
you.
follow up.
And Chuck, if this would continue, I know because there was a couple times this has happened where the videos weren't posted in time for you to do the minutes, and if if at any point you get tired of this, like if you want us to revisit like taking turns taking the minutes, I know you're not asking for that now, but if you get to that point, let us know. And I know that previously we had a much simpler minutes system, right, where we were just really recording the key motions.
Right.
And you provide much more detailed, which is lovely, but not required.
Yeah, I understand. I thank you very much. I really appreciate your thoughts on this. I just feel like it's an important public record. And it's not something that should be, just dismissed. So thanks, but thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Okay, next thing on the agenda,
Well, were the minutes, are the corrections or,
No, I have it that the minutes were all approved.
that we approved. I asked for comments after we approved them, Chuck. That was my mistake, but
okay, so it's approved. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
And should we make a motion for open public comment, Tara? Or is there nobody there?
We do have someone here, actually. Yes, we have a member
Okay.
of the public.
Can we have a motion to open?
I'll make a
meeting to
motion to
public?
open the meeting to public comment.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we have Velma
All
Williams.
in favor?
I'll
You can
say
do it.
you make it work. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any noes or abstain? All right, thank you.
Okay, we have Velma Williams. Velma, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, hi, you are on. You can speak during the public session if you'd like.
Okay. I'm just curious. That's why I'm joining in because I
Oh,
haven't joined.
okay. Perfect. So you didn't have any questions or anything? You just wanted to listen in?
Yes. No-
Okay.
Okay.
We always welcome eavesdroppers from the public. That's great.
Thank you
For
so
joining us.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Well, I am then going to, so there's no other members of the public then.
Okay. Can we have a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close the public comment period.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? No abstentions, no nays. The public comment is now closed. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section on our agenda, the Pathways and Trails Plan. Anne Marie, are you gonna use a timer for us? We have our- Thanks. We have our 45 minutes to review the draft Pathways and Trails Plan.
Okay. All right. So the meeting before last, because our October meeting was canceled, I had sent around the draft Pathways and Trails plan for review. I'm just putting it up on my screen so we can like kind of get to things easier. Mark, I did receive your comments, so I have those and we can go through them as we go through, and we can also go through anyone else's comments as well. Just so, and I think I mentioned this in the when I sent it out. So it's a final draft at this point. We are missing things from it, which is, I'm sure you noticed, where we talk about like what can you find at each trail. That has to be filled in. The maps are still not completed. I followed up with AT today and we're still waiting on maps. So all of that is going to have to be added. So it's not in a position right now where it's ready to go to the planning board or anything. But while we're waiting for those things, I figured we could at least go through the document, how it's set up, and any comments that we have.
Great.
So I don't know how you guys want to handle it. If you want to just go through like portion by portion, or I'm not sure what you think the best way is to do.
Um, well, I know you mentioned getting some feedback ahead of time. I guess, why don't we don't need to go through with a fine tooth comb. We've already
Okay.
done that part of it.
Yep.
So maybe we just go by a section and then you can share what was already shared, and then if anybody has additional, we'll add. How does that sound?
Okay. That sounds good. I mean, I only have comments from Mark, so we can go through there. Those if you want, is that since it's, I know because Mark is, I mean, he's here now, but we don't want to keep him if he's gets tired, so maybe we can do
Yep.
that.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I'll stick it out for sure through this part.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, so Mark submitted comments in advance, so why don't we go through there?
Okay. I mean, some of them were just typo stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's
otherwise,
fine.
I don't want to bore everybody with
No,
some
that's
wording
okay.
changes just based on grammar, but
Yeah, no, the grammar, that's fine. I just want to go to the main one, like to the main comments here. So, okay, so the first one, for example, it says it identifies it for the next, and you said it says 10 and you crossed out 5, and you said seeing that we're 5 years into the plan, I would think we want to get back in sync with the other committees and the township's master plan schedule. So the township's portions of the master plan, they're all getting updated at various times. The one element of the master plan is the land use element that has to get updated every 10 years. But like the farmland plan is on a different schedule, the circulation plan, so we don't have to be in sync with that land use element. And then this way that gives our plan a 10-year life instead of just 5.
okay. Yeah, I didn't
That's
know if we were
okay.
sort of required or we're supposed to be in sync with the others, but if everybody's doing it on a different schedule and we're not the only ones,
Yeah,
I guess I will, I don't have an
okay,
issue. No issue then.
perfect.
We can drop that one.
Where was that? What part of the plan was that
On
in?
page 8, fourth paragraph.
Hey, Tara, can you make that bigger for us?
Oh, sure, yeah.
But this
Mine
is just
is-
my comments. It's not the actual PTP. If you
Oh,
want to
yeah,
see
so
it,
we can go to the actual
you want to see
pages
it in the
then.
PTP, it's on page 8, fourth
Yeah,
paragraph.
so this is on
Mine
page
doesn't
8.
have numbered pages. What section, please?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you'll
see.
get so Tara, switch over to final draft PTP to the left tab.
Is it executive
There.
summary?
So here, if you go to page 8, you have page numbers at the top, even if the actual physical pages don't have them. So fourth paragraph, if you zoom in on that a bit, give us a bit more blow up, please. And
I
scroll up.
hate my computer when it does. My computer, if I start using like the touch screen versus the mouse, it like gets all crazed. Okay, here we go. So
Right,
it's
and it
right
says,
here.
This plan clearly identifies the vision for Franklin Township's trail system over the next 10 years. But I was just curious because we're a little like 5 years late compared to where we were intending to be. or where we thought we should be. I thought we may want to just make this one 5, not that we'd have necessarily a lot to revisit in 5 years, but according to what Tara said, this can have it be on its own time frame, and I'm fine with making this exercise only an every 10-year thing. I think everybody would be happier with that.
I'm very happy about that.
In
Okay.
You know, Mark, if it's
Okay.
gonna be every 5 years, we have to start immediately working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But it is definitely a good question. But yeah, I mean, I think we're okay there. Anything that's grammar, I'll just skip past, just like
Well, I
some.
mean, like number 2 on page 11, goal 4, I mean, it slightly changes perhaps the emphasis or intent, so maybe people feel one way or the other about it.
So page
Um,
11, it's
goal
changing
4.
importance to benefits. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me scoot
Page
down.
11.
Here we go.
All right, goal
Um,
4. Which,
Yes. So we're talking about, I'm sorry, I have to go back here to see. Goal 4 says promote and educate the public about the importance of trail usage. And Mark's comment is that maybe suggest changing the word importance to the benefits of trail usage for goal 4.
Important, I don't know,
Sounds good.
That's
important
okay. I think that
means
works.
something different. I think
I
we,
like
we have an
benefits.
obligation to present benefits to the public. They can decide whether they're important.
I like
What
that.
page is it again, Mark?
Well, on
11.
my version, when I was looking at, I don't know if some of her zoom in might have changed the
No, we're still good.
pagination.
It's the one
it's
that
this.
looks like this, Sean.
It's on, yeah, it's goal 4.
Yeah, okay. Goal 4.
Okay.
And
Now
it's
I
like
see.
the highlighted box where it says promote and educate
Oh, yeah,
the
it's in the
public.
title. That's why I wasn't grabbing
Right.
it quickly. There it is, yeah.
I see it.
Okay, so everyone's good with changing importance to benefits. Okay.
are we going to go through, I'm sorry, are we going through all of Mark's comments first? And then
Yes,
going
yes.
back, because I'm sure a lot of us have some comments about things that we're going through already, because I do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. So Mark submitted comments in advance, written comments. So if we go
Okay.
through his first, then we go back, does that make sense?
Tara, why don't we just go through the sections and we'll start with Mark's? And then Mark, if at some point you feel like you need to get off, just give us a 5-minute
Yeah,
warning.
that's fine. We have 45 minutes. What did you have? Do you have anything that was at this page or before, Anne Marie? Go ahead.
Just quickly, goal 1, proactively seek logical opportunities, blah, blah, blah. 1D, incorporate concepts of complete streets. I wasn't really sure what complete streets was. Planning into trail design and adjacent land uses. And then it says adequate
Just
trail
go back.
markers, benches, bike repair stations, dog waste bags. It's the first time I'm seeing the bike repair stations and dog waste bags.
Right. So incorporate the concepts of complete streets into trail design. So complete streets applies also to trails, any type of transportation route. And it basically means making those routes accessible for all users. So complete streets are those that allow walkers, bikers, in the case of trails, would make it easy for people with dogs to be there, or people with bikes if they need to repair their bike because they have a flat or something. So it's basically putting what you can there to make those trails as accessible as possible. And that's the kind of concepts that follow the complete streets planning.
Is there some link to the formal complete streets definition and program? Because if there is, we should probably mention it either in an appendix or a link to it there, because we've done that with other things we're making reference to.
Yeah, I think Somerset County in their plan, they have a pretty good comment. So we can
Yeah,
use
so we
this
should
probably.
just
Oh.
probably reference that and
That's a
just give a
flyer,
link,
but
give
yeah.
a link in the appendix or something somewhere, and then make a footnote to it in that
Okay.
thing. I mean, that's just a suggestion on how to handle it. Anne Marie, how does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds fine. I just saw bike repair stations and dog waste bags, and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know we're
I
going
kinda-
down that road.
That's funny. I kind of glazed over that stuff, figuring you guys had thrown a lot of stuff in there that I was like, was past where I was. So I'm like, whatever. Somebody must have asked for it, and I just moved on.
I know complete streets was in there. I think I went in and added some info in just to kind of make the definition seem more apparent, but we can put this definition in from the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority They really are like the on the forefront of complete streets, and that's what everyone follows. So we can put this in.
I like the doggy bag ideas. That's not
Yeah.
a hard, especially if we can encourage, you know, self-compostable bags or other biodegradable bags and sort of
Mhm.
drive people towards something more appropriate
Right.
than them just maybe bringing out some of their old plastic shopping bags or something and those winding up being inappropriately landfilled as is. So, I mean, that's
I'm just-
good. I'm a little leery of the bike repair station concept. I mean, what kind of
I'm in favor of
expectation?
that.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what kind of expectation we're setting, but
Have you
and I'm
seen,
also not sure how long stuff like that's going to last.
hey, Mark, have
Right.
you seen the one at 6 Mile Run at Jacques, the Jacques lot?
No, I have not. No.
So they have, yeah, they've had one at Sourland Mountain for a long time now.
Hmm.
And I guess in the last year they put one in the Jacques parking lot, and it's just like it's just handy because it has just all those bike repair tools just dangling from wires, like so you can just use them there if your bike breaks down.
Hmm.
I've seen other ones. I saw one in Vermont.
Is
In a
that
couple
Jorba
places.
who probably put those in?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I would love to get some information from Jorba on how often they have to replace those tools.
Yeah, I saw one at Sandy Hook. That was when I first saw one, and it's been there a while, but you're right. I don't know how often they have to replace them.
I
And I
mean,
know Hillsborough as
maybe
far as
my cynical opinion on, I mean, we've seen enough vandalism and other stupid things happen at our trails. Like, you know, to me, this seems like one of those things where some joker's going to ruin it for everybody else.
yeah.
Hey
Well,
Tara, same thing. I saw in Sandy Hook too. They're pretty
Good, yeah.
sturdy. They're pretty durable. It looks like, like an air hose thing. It's all metallic and it's like a little tower and everything's
Mhm.
hanging from it. It seems pretty sturdy.
Pretty solid steel. And I know the state park has installed them at Bulls Island. And actually, that's something I think we would like to try to get the park to start installing along the towpath.
Yeah.
yes,
You know, in
yeah.
Hillsborough, in front of the municipal building, they had a Girl Scout troop. I don't know how they raised the money and they installed it there, and it's right at Hillsborough. It's pretty cool, but you're right. I don't know anything about the maintenance of it, but
Is Chris on? I wonder if Chris knows.
Oh yeah, I'm here. So they're not terribly expensive. Like the initial equipment is something like $600. But I haven't really heard of much vandalism happening to them. For those that I've seen, the only one that I know of that's in the local vicinity, I guess, would be the Metuchen. I'm sorry, the Middlesex Greenway in Metuchen.
right.
But they have one there. It looked like it was in good shape last time I saw it. But as for the maintenance and everything, I'm not sure how that goes or what type of warranties go with the equipment. But the cables, they can be cut, it can be vandalized. But like anything else, I don't think it's as great of an issue because we don't have much mountain biking on our trails, right? There's only a few trails in our purview that where cycling is allowed. So I wouldn't imagine that we would have many of them. And unless you were thinking something like the Demont Lane Trail, or even, I mean, not under our purview, but JFK Boulevard, like areas like that, it could be useful. I mean, if there's a grant with a small amount of money, like $1,000, I think it could be worth it for the township to explore that option.
Mhm.
Somebody mentioned the canal path, and I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah,
At
because it's
the
definitely going to
road
be
crossing parking lots, those could be great.
Yeah. Okay.
but based on
6 Mile Run has a lot of bikers on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're the ones who Jorba put in one at Jake's Lane though, which is, I may have put in another one at the other end on 27 or something. I don't know where they would all be.
Yeah, I have to check. I know Jake's, but I'm not sure about the others.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any comments above this or on this page at this point or about the goal 1 that we're under, I guess, so far?
Sarah, I know the township does have a complete streets policy.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure whether you'd be interested in listing that in the appendix as well, but there is one. It doesn't mention as much about trails, but with some of the discussions we've had about new development, some of it could be related to that. But
Yeah,
case,
no,
it
that's a good
exists.
idea. We could definitely put that in the appendix for sure. Okay, all right.
Um,
I think you can skip my number 3. I think you can skip
Okay.
my number 4.
did you, Mark, I don't know if it was, did you have on there any about goal 3?
Nope. I only the one thing I already mentioned about goal 4.
I don't know, but I might be reading this wrong, but to me, the wording of goal 3, feels like it's missing a comma or a word.
2.
Uh,
It's missing a word 2, TO, between opportunities and acquire.
oh, okay. Oh, I'm in a PDF. Okay, I will make that change once I get out of the PDF view.
Do you agree? Is that
Yeah,
seem
yeah,
like the right word there?
yeah. That is missing for sure. Yep. Okay. Anyone have any comments on any of the goals 2 or goals 3? No? Okay, let me just write this down. All right, so now we're up to goal 4, which we talked a little bit about. Does anyone have any comments on goal 4, any part of section 4? Nobody?
Good to me.
How about 5?
5, I just have a quick question about the caption under the picture, since this is going to be printed. It says Jackson at grasslands.
Uh-huh.
Jackson at grasslands.
Oh, that's the name of the photo.
Jackson's the
So
name of the
the
dog,
Jackson's
I
the
think, in
dog,
the
I think.
foreground.
Oh my goodness, that little Jackson.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I'm like, Jackson? What the?
Maybe
that's
maybe
the
we should
name.
adjust the caption to say pet dog Jackson at Grassland for clarity. I don't think it matters. Yeah, whatever. My guess is that that's Jackson.
Yeah,
I'm
that
putting
makes
my
sense.
putting my money on that.
I didn't even see the dog when I was reading this.
I
I was
didn't see
paying
it
so much
either.
focus on the
Can
wording.
we tell if that dog's on leash? If it's not, I'm not sure we should include it.
I it looks like he is on a leash, but you're right. I don't know.
We can leave it
Okay.
there, and if people ask, we'll just say we were assured by the photo taker that
Yeah.
there is a
Yep.
leash visible.
It's a wireless leash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else on section 5 at all? Anything on section 5? I'm not section 5, goal 5.
Goal 5, okay.
I'm glad to see the inclusion of this Adopt a Trail program. Actually, I have a few things I'd like to say about it later on, but
Okay,
I
Right.
I think we really need this.
got it.
So funny. I'm completely the opposite. I think it's something we should drop trying to chase since we don't get enough interest in it, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to administer and with insurance and waivers and all this other stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sort of thing I was really wanting to say about it, Mark. I've been doing a lot of talking.
All right.
executive
Well,
about it and
let's argue
talking
over
to
that
volunteer
after our
organizations about it.
let's
And
argue over it after our 45 minutes are up.
yeah, well, good. That's fine
Mark,
too.
you can't bait him if you.
Clock is ticking.
Okay.
All right, now we're on section 3 here, which is the assets and obstacles. I don't know why I highlighted that there, because when I highlight something, that's like supposed to be a note to myself, but I forget what the note is, so I'll have to go back and look.
I think under the third bullet, you were going to put in the number of miles.
Oh, correct. Yes, and I can't put that in until I have all the final maps from AT, who is still working on it. So yes, that's why I have it. So this chart is basically incomplete at this point because once he updates all of all the trail maps, I'll be able to put in the actual mileage. So this is where this is kind of still missing.
In that sentence also, conservation of native trees and shaded and solitary passive recreation. What does that mean?
Blank miles of forest trails throughout the township provide critical habitat, conservation of native trees, and shaded and solitary passive recreation. I think once we have the miles of trails that are actually forested and more secluded, we're basically saying that these trail miles in particular provide critical habitat, conserve the native trees, and provide shaded, like with shade, and solitary passive recreation.
I wasn't familiar with that phrase.
Yeah, maybe we should reword it to say So the first, up to the first comma is fine. Then say conserve native trees, and then say comma and provide shaded and solitary passive recreation.
Okay, so it should be bullet
Put the
2.
verb, put a verb in each one. Make them each a verb in the clause, and then it might read better.
Conserve native trees. Okay.
And provide shaded and
Did you
solitary
get it?
passive.
I heard that did you trip or something?
Okay.
What?
All right. Got
Is
it.
that
Got
gonna,
that.
hold on, but
changed.
is that gonna read right from the beginning though?
Oh,
Because you have, like, let's say, like 30 miles of forest trails through township provide critical habitat.
Conserve native trees
Oh,
and
conserve native
provide
trees.
shaded and solitary passive recreation. I was always taught that you keep the same verb tense and
Mhm.
framing for each clause.
Is that a main thing?
It was just my damn English teacher who drove it into us.
You did a good job.
You need to send her a thank you note.
The
This,
next
yeah.
the next bullet point, I have a little bit of not an update, but I've been working with the Environmental Commission and we're looking at this iTree program. So the 39% tree canopy was calculated in 2016. The Shade Tree Commission recalculated it just this year, and they came up again that we have 39% tree canopy again, which can't be right. And they know it, and we know it just can't be right because we're pretty sure it's gone down. So this iTree program, I'm trying to learn how to use it. I'm working with IT because if we can upload the GIS files, we can get like a correct tree canopy and we'll have mapping that's associated with it. So that number may change, but it'll be more consistent. So yeah. Just so you know, it doesn't really
I've been looking at that too. I actually went to a Shade Tree Commission meeting where they were talking about this, and I tried to use the app, but I think it's important. I think it's important that we do this iTree
Mhm.
surveys and so on. But along that line, I would since this is basically another citizen science app, and I have for some time now wanted to encourage the use of citizen science apps to monitor the environmental conditions on our trails and in our grasslands through eBird and iNaturalist. And
Mhm.
actually, we've accumulated a very robust set of data about the ecosystems on our trails and the grasslands through these apps. They're just people go out and they report stuff,
Right.
and it's validated by curators, and it's very important data. And I could talk ad infinitum on it, but in fact, I'm wondering whether we should include in this description of the trails and grasslands the opportunity for nature photography as well as citizen science studies as part of the trail usage.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a great idea. We could do that. We could put that in the next section for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So this table that I'm going through, right now I would say just don't look at it. I mean, not don't look at it, but it's not, we have to wait for it to be updated. So I'm gonna wait for those trail miles because we're still waiting.
I have one correction. Simonson Brook Trail is 0.66 miles, not 1.5. It's 1.5 if you go down and come back on, but the total distance is only 0.66.
Okay, Simonson.
And the in Graver Woods Environmental Center Blue Trail looks to me like it's 0.94 miles.
What did you say it was?
It looks to me it's about 0.94 miles. I'm having difficulty finding the old mapping that I did as well as the apps, but
Okay.
it's somewhere
All right.
along those lines.
I will change that. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so let's scoot down to here. So then we have the geology section. Oh, Geology and population and demographics. Anyone have any comments or questions?
There-
Just characterized in this, in the second section, in the second sentence. That's just a small thing.
Oh, oh my gosh, yeah, there it is. You're right.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I suggested skipping, but there's an odd break in that sentence. So
Yep.
Pretty
Okay,
amazing. It's 240 million years.
right? Yeah, I know.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so geology, anything on population and demographics? No?
Nope.
All right, let's keep moving then. Here we go. Okay, what's this part? Oh, that's the rest of population demographics. Then there's this spotlight section, which is about the local health assessment and action plan. Anyone have any comments on that?
Nope.
I wanted to color this, like I want to make this circle a color, but I don't know what the heck, like the day I was working on it, it was like Microsoft Word was against me, so I basically just stopped. But for the final version, I want this circle to be like like color almost, so it kind of like pops out.
I think it pops out with the shape too, Tara.
You think so? Okay.
yeah,
All right, so now we've moved on to assets. So we'll have assets, which is first is up is Bunker Hill and Franklin Natural Area.
Can I just jump in before we get too far on that?
Yeah.
We don't have a description of Memorial Forest.
In the assets. Okay, yes, we have to add that in.
And we don't have a description of Simonson Brook, but actually, I'd really like to work on these descriptions a bit.
I wouldn't think Simonson Brook would be separate, right? It's just part of the overall John Clyde Preserve, right?
It's Graber Woods. It's connected to Environmental Center as well as Gregson Gressner. I don't particularly care.
Is it not?
I don't want it to be neglected.
Is it not technically on the John Clyde property? Does that somewhere end and then? it
It's
goes on something else?
actually it's between the John Clyde property and the Graber Woods property, and it goes by some interesting features like there is a marsh area.
Yeah,
There
it's all on.
They connect, but it connects to John Clyde, right?
connects the John Clyde to the Graber Woods.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's not-
So I think there needs to be a trail description in here, like these trail descriptions. But I would really like to do some fairly heavy duty work on these descriptions before we go forward with them.
What do
Well, if
you
you
want to
do-
do to them?
What do you want to do?
Well, the what might be seen sections,
Yes,
I think are pretty important.
yeah, Tara mentioned
Some
that.
just don't make any sense. For example, but I started making notes about, if you go to the John Clyde, let's go to the Negri Napobi.
I was just gonna say, wherever we have cross-country skiing and snowshoeing at this rate of New Jersey snowfall, we may not want to highlight those.
I've
Seems like
actually
wasted
run into a
space.
couple of people who have snowshoes out there, believe it or not.
Well, sure,
Yeah,
but
I love
Uh,
it.
but,
It's so fun.
I
But-
love snowshoeing.
I do
But
too. But I don't see
I
any
think
reason
in
to put
terms of
them on it.
activities, I think we also ought to include nature photography, citizen science, and citizen science applications along with it. We have quite a bit of activity.
Where
yeah,
are you adding, Chuck, where do you want to add that to?
For practically every trail description where it's talking about what you can do on the trail.
All right, so you're talking about what might be seen on the trail or the trail
Well,
description?
that would be what you can do on the trail. And then what you might be seeing on the trail, for example, I just like to have some better descriptions here. For example, on the John Clyde Grasslands Trail, I made some notes. See the box, what might be seen?
Yes.
Well, first of all, there are groves of cedar trees. There are at least 15 different native tree species there. I don't think they should be listed all, but native walnut, oak, hickory,
I
and
know.
so on. If you're going to talk about trees, they're all there. Monarch butterflies, well, there are 71 species of butterflies that have been identified by iNaturalist reporting alone at Negri Nipoti. With respect to the birds, the kestrel, well, kestrel is a hawk. Okay, there are at least 6 different hawk species that you can go out there and see at Negri Nipoti and at John Clyde grasslands. In fact, I also
Chuck, how much
saw a
time?
bald eagle at grasslands just 2 weeks ago.
I don't
So
know. This
Chuck,
bugger's
how
already at
much time-
71 pages. I'm loath to
Yeah.
make it longer.
Chuck, how much time do you think? I know because we were trying to get our stuff to.
Well,
Tara.
what I would like to propose, would you be okay with me just sort of working on this and trying to increase and improve the content of this and we
With a deadline, perhaps, and maybe a word count
Yeah,
limit.
I think that Tara was expecting us to give this to her before this meeting. So I'm
Say
sure.
that again?
I think Tara was expecting us to give her our comments and our feedback before this meeting.
Well, if that's the case, that and you don't want to consider it any further,
No,
then
no, no, no.
I would just suggest deleting this stuff because it just right now it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean,
Let me just say right now, it's empty for the most part, and I had mentioned that when I asked for the comments, but in general is that I only listed like 4 or 5 things, and that was the thing. I think even when Anna was on, it was like we were gonna fill this in, so I didn't fill everything in. It's just like a starting point, you know.
And I wouldn't expect you to, Tara. I really, and that's not. I'm not meaning it's a criticism.
No,
or
I
anything.
know, no,
I would just really like
let me
to
put a what
offer some
is this
better.
something, Chuck? Do you think your suggestions could be ready by the next Trails meeting? Because it's something you could share with Tara.
I'll try to do it. It's going to take some time.
Okay. Well,
Honestly.
maybe just maybe it's like setting a target. Like Tara, what's the target for the whole plan to be done?
Well, I mean, getting the mapping done is taking honestly longer than I expected. That's really all I need. So if we can get through if we went through comments this meeting and next meeting, so that's December, January, I am sure that the maps will be done by February. I think we could get it like all approved by, I would hope February would be the absolute latest. What I would say though is in terms of the plan itself, these boxes I would fill in, Chuck. You can make columns if you want. I wouldn't exceed it though too much, only because once it starts getting too lengthy, and then it's going to be difficult. So like if you look, I put in the big ones, and then
Wait, can I
That's
just,
fine. Actually, uh, uh, if you would give me permission to do so,
yeah.
I would just like to fill in the boxes, the existing boxes at the dimensions they are.
Oh
But
yeah, I would love that.
I feel like one of the important things about this document is informing the council about how important our trails are and how important our open space is. And I think this is important information. So a council member can go out and tell people, look, we've got this incredible biological diversity for among other things here, that we're doing our part to try to, save the environment. And that's why we think these trails are important.
Anne Marie, what were you trying to say, Anne Marie?
yeah, well, I want to jump in. I think there's a way to do it within the box. I think if we state how many native trees, 15 native species of trees, 26 species of birds, 71 species of butterflies. I think those numbers would really get people's attention.
Well, right on, sister. I think you're right. And that's actually the types of notes that I wrote in.
Okay.
Because
in
individual
ink on this
species,
thing. Yeah, I don't think listing every species is worth it.
Right.
I think people will lose attention, but
It might be all right to have a few though, Chuck.
Yeah.
Let me work on it.
Yeah.
I'll try to get it to you by the January meeting.
Okay.
Well, let me interject. I mean, I think for the purposes of the document, Yeah, I wouldn't go and list all the species of trees and all the animals that inhabit these areas, but it is beneficial to have that information somewhere. I mean, maybe referencing our website and showing that at these trails that this is where they are. I wouldn't say we would need to list them here in the plan document, but that's just my thought there.
Well, the other thing we could do, I'm wondering, is if we can get the information from GIS data, from like the species data, or if we can get it from the iNaturalist app, we could make it an appendix. It won't be by location probably, but we could be like, here's all the things, and we can reference an appendix. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Well, actually, that would be fine as well. I think, and I think Chris's point is well taken as well. I think it would be good if we did provide complete lists, and actually, that has been done in the past. If you picked up folders at Negri Napodi from several years ago, you'd find a butterfly checklist, a bird checklist. It didn't have a plant checklist, but there should be one there as well. And I think that's information that we could also include on the website.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of, and I see this document as one of the things is informing the council and informing the public about the importance of these trails and what an incredible resource we have here. So I would like to have a summary in these boxes, like what Anne Marie was suggesting, and if it's okay with you, I'll try to get that to you for the next meeting.
Yeah, that would be
Information
great.
that will not exceed these boxes that you have.
Yeah, no, I think that would be excellent. If you can do that, that would be all. I think it would be great.
I've already converted this into a Word file, so I can just type this stuff in.
And I think the suggestion of adding links to more in-depth information is also helpful. So people who are curious could go, but right, keeping the text here simple, but you know, linking where people are curious.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
All right, Tara, Anne Marie, how are we with time?
We're running out of time. We're supposed to be closing this section at 7:57 and it is now 7:49.
Okay.
All right. So let me ask on the sections that we're under assets. So if we can get through assets at least, that would be great. So we have Bunker Hill, we went through. I agree, Chuck, in adding in the citizen science and the nature photography. We can put a sentence like that in under like it'll be a standard sentence that we put in, like hiking, bird, under blah blah. We'll put this, then we'll put in, visitors are encouraged to use this app and that app. We can put that in for everything. I think that works.
Right.
Does anyone have any comments on the text or anything of the other areas? Butler Road. I'll just scroll through, but stop me if you have any comments. John Clyde Memorial Native Grasslands Preserve. What else do we have here? Inman Park. Millbush Park. Negri Napodi. And I have a note, we have to add in Memorial Forest.
Yeah, that's gone. Okay.
Colonial Park. DNR Canal.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I had one comment on page 21, Middlebush Park.
Okay.
Which park?
Middlebush.
Go ahead.
If we go to page 21, we'll see here that there's an opening statement that Middlebush Park is the township's crown jewel. Just curious who made that presumption or that declaration. And
yes,
I've always considered John Clyde Preserve to be the best that we have to offer, not Middlebush Park.
So Middlebush
How about recreational crown jewel?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Do people understand?
Sports and recreation crown jewel.
I was like, are people going to understand that differentiation?
And the people who live there, who they knocked down all those trees that buffered. I don't think they feel that way either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was in the previous plan and that's why it continues to
Really?
be. I didn't
Get outta
I didn't
here.
know who named it the crown jewel either. I just
No
assumed-
way. How did I
Yeah,
miss that? That is
I
ridiculous. I
I
didn't
just
think
assumed
Middlebush
it
Park
was
was
it.
built. I didn't even think Middlebush Park was built when we did our last plan.
Well, and I also heard someone else refer to it very recently, like in talking, like,
I'm
oh,
gonna go,
that's our
I'm gonna go
our
find that. Give
crown
me a minute.
jewel.
I
Crown
gotta go
jewel?
find it.
Wow.
Yeah,
No way. I'm
that's
going to
why I
find
kept it
that.
in because I was like, oh, okay. I figured someone must have decided that a while back.
I'm gonna find
All
my
right,
old
so,
notes.
so Mark, could you have alternative wording for there?
Well, my thoughts were that, I would just generally remove any such claims or statements because they're very subjective and I don't think they add any value.
Well, you could
Okay.
put it for active recreation because it is the crown jewel. That is the most, what you call it? The most up-to-date or modern facility with,
But is that what defines a crown jewel? I mean, the
well,
crown
it's,
jewels of England are considered wonderful, but they're very old and not modern.
but
So,
I'm talking about, for active recreation,
Mm.
that has
Yeah.
bleachers, that
people
has.
want different things, right? I mean, some people
Well, no, but
consider
you
the
put
canal.
it as you put it for active recreation because there aren't really.
That's
There's
right.
no reason to make a statement like that. It doesn't add any value for us to put subjective judgments into this
Oh, I'm
about
not,
which
I'm not saying
park is
yes or
better
no.
than
I'm
another
just
one.
saying that Middlebush Park is probably the best active recreation park in the township. Whether you want to call it crown jewel, that's fine, but I'm just mentioning that, in my opinion, that is the best active recreation park we have.
Again, I guess let people decide that on their own. Let
Wow.
us not prejudge that and force an opinion on them. The
Well, I
the
think it's
Pathway and
true,
Trails
though.
plan isn't, here to trumpet our opinions, which aren't even in full
Okay, yeah.
unanimity
Yeah, okay.
about what is a great park and what is
So
not.
we can just have the text, leave a text describing what they actually,
Yeah,
the
just stick with
fields and
the same
fields and things
format,
that are
which is
there.
all the other ones just say what's going on there and don't say that this one's better or worse than any other one. Just take that
Okay,
out of it.
so yeah, we'll remove the reference to that.
But I agree with Jim. It's unique in that it's recreational focus.
Yep.
It's,
So we
it
can
is,
keep that
in our
part.
town, it is the only one.
Yeah.
I guess where someone, okay, so it looks like apparently the National Park Service has used the term crown jewel in the past, and maybe that's why somehow it got filtered into this. But yeah, I don't know how it was decided that Middlebush Park was, but I mean, we can just remove a reference to it. That's no problem.
Yeah, just
if you
take the
guys
crown
want.
jewel out.
Yeah,
Or
we
you
can
could
do that.
go to the Colonial Park description and say, although not a crown jewel.
Right,
And,
right. That's
and
true.
also the towpath for that matter.
Right.
Yeah,
All
but we
right.
said, Middlebush Park offers soccer and football
Yeah.
fields, basketball courts, playgrounds, and over 2.25 miles of trails to visitors.
Yep. Okay, I will, I'll take out that reference.
Yeah.
Anything on Negri Napodi? All right, then we got Colonial Park. DNR Canal. And 6 Mile Run.
I just did a word search in the original PTP and found no instance of the words crown jewel anywhere in that document.
It
All
was,
right, we're letting it go. We're moving on.
it was definitely in some document. Maybe it's our open space plan. It's definitely like from, or maybe it's on the trails map. I have to look and
It
see.
might be on recreation's page because like you
Yeah.
said, they feel that way, but in inventorying all of our trails, I wouldn't put one above another.
Yeah.
Mark Fortin is the crowned jewel of the Trails Advisory Committee.
Yeah,
There
I
we
wouldn't
go.
agree with that. And that could be very well argued as well.
All right, and then we got Flummer Preserve. Any comments or questions on that? All righty. All right, then we
Hang
come
on.
up to bike paths. I know we're running out of time, but if we want to look real quick before the next one, let's see. Okay, so, oh, here we go. So Chris, in this paragraph, we reference the township's complete streets policy. So I could put a link to that policy right there too.
Nice.
I had a
It
couple.
Yeah, that would
describes it.
be appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple comments on this one.
Okay.
So the Van Cleef bike path, which is the third item down in the list.
Mm-hmm.
I had understood that the plan for completion of the bike path would be to continue it along the eastern side of Van Cleef Road where it is now, not the western side.
Oh, we had that conversation. I remember that conversation.
I mean, there's only one house to contend with on the eastern side. Why are we crossing over and then having a far higher number of houses impacted by going on the
Right.
western side? And why make people do a road crossing at that point?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
So Van Cleef, it should be all along the eastern side.
That's what I
Along the
thought.
eastern side of Van Cleef, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody's gone ahead and started making plans otherwise, I guess my question is, how weren't we involved in seeing those plans? You know,
I don't think so.
the
I
last
think
I
it-
heard was a comment from Mayor Kramer at one of our previous discussions about Van Cleef and saying that this was very doable and he thought we could get this done. And then that was the last I heard. I didn't know anything had moved forward with an implementation plan.
I think that must just be a mistyping. That's what I think, but I can
Okay.
double check.
Yeah, it was just that typo.
And you
And
have
then
other comments, Mark?
One other, the last sentence, last paragraph. I would change this to read, this is the last sentence, last paragraph.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That's fine.
Whoop.
One about restaurants?
Mother. Okay. Here we go. Adapting to changes in land development patterns? Or did I go too far?
Yeah, so the last sentence is to ensure that connections between existing trails are not lost. I would say that I was going to reword it to say that to ensure that, essentially keep the same wording, but instead of saying has begun, say has resumed regularly reviewing applications for development in priority areas. And then I'd add an additional sentence. There is an ongoing risk that the committee may not be alerted to development plans that could impact new trail creation and or existing trail use.
Okay.
There is also an ongoing risk that the committee may not adequately prioritize this critical review task due to competing issues.
Okay.
That's all in adapting to changes in land development patterns, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
I would basically make a slight rewording to the last sentence of this 3-line paragraph, and then add one more sentence. No, 2 more sentences to the end of that.
So instead of has continued, has resumed, you said has resumed. Okay.
Has resumed regularly reviewing.
Okay. Got it. And then an additional sentence that says that we might not always be able to prioritize this because of competing interests.
And that we may not always be alerted by, other players.
Mark, can you explain the value of that sentence?
Which sentence?
The one you added, the one you're adding, you're saying that we might not be able to. I'm just trying
Well,
to.
people might ask, we went through a period where we stopped prioritizing this and we didn't do it for a long time, right?
Yes.
There's always that risk that this could be dropped. If we put it in the 10-year plan, then we highlight the fact that we think this shouldn't be dropped and shouldn't be deprioritized.
Mm-hmm.
And we also highlight the fact that we need information from other sectors to be able to do this part. If somebody decides, like the planning board or the town developer or whatever, fails to notify Tara or us of something coming up that could have an impact, and they just pre-filter it for us and decide it doesn't make sense for us to look at it, then we might miss something and may have a different opinion, right? And those are things that are not in our control.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to recognize those risks.
Got it. Yeah, no, I agree. Did you want to, Anne Marie, should we stop and we'll start off again next time on obstacles? But that's pretty good. We made it pretty well through.
We are beyond time and I am a good timekeeper, but I just feel like did we conclude adapting to changes in land development patterns? Did we adopt that last sentence that Mark was referencing?
Oh,
That was just one man's opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, do we, let's just wrap up this conversation and
Yeah.
then move on.
I
I'm
think it
fine
makes
with
sense.
putting it to, I'm fine with putting it to an informal, non-motion vote. Just see who feels that it should be changed or not. Right?
Is that, Mark, is that on your sheet? On
It
your?
is.
Yeah,
It was
Tara,
in
could
what
you
I
just put
submitted
that
to
up so we
Tara.
could just read it? I'm not a good auditory person.
Mhm.
I have to hear it I have to hear it again, please.
It's number 7 there, right in the middle with the
Red.
red, with the lots of red.
Oh, man, on my computer. Come
You
on.
need to
Nope.
scroll to the right.
Going the wrong
You'll
way.
need
I'm
to
going.
scroll to the right. Yeah. There's a
Okay.
scroller for at the bottom you need to go to and go horizontal. Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And take my cursor off. There we go.
So the current last sentence is in quotes. As I say, I would change this, and starting there, that's what how the current last sentence reads, and then I add 2 more sentences.
That last sentence is, there is also an ongoing risk that the committee may not adequately prioritize this critical review task due to competing issues.
So I wonder if we could word that something along the lines of, the committee is committed to prioritizing this
Okay.
while also managing competing issues.
Well, sure, that sounds more positive. I like that idea. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
That works. We can do that.
Because I think, Mark, when you put this back on our radar, like we were all on board with that. Like it's not like
Yeah,
any of us were
yeah.
against it.
No, I'm just a grumpy old man from watching it be sidelined for so long and being irritated by it. I think it came out in my wording.
I see that,
Guilty as charged.
but it's important to put in there. I think this is an important.
I think it's good to wordsmith it into something that is more positively stated. I still think there's a risk that we're not going to be notified of everything in an adequate way. I don't know how to phrase that more positively, but
Yeah, there's
that is a
100%.
risk, right? If we don't get the information, if Tara isn't given the information in a timely fashion for us
Yeah.
to take a
So
look at
could
something,
be,
the
it is
opportunity could be
critical.
lost.
It is critical that the Trails Advisory Committee is alerted to development plans that could impact new trail creation or existing trail use
In a timely fashion.
in a
Yeah.
timely fashion.
I mean, there's no good if they tell us they're voting on it like on,
Right.
on a Wednesday and we're meeting on, or they're voting on it on a Tuesday and we meet on it on the following Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it's
done. We've
critical or
lost
it's
our window.
imperative that the committee is alerted in a timely fashion to development plans that could impact new trail creation or existing trail use. The Trails Advisory Committee, yep. Tara, did you get that language down?
I got it. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'll share it with you at the next meeting too. I'll put it in there, and then if we want different words, we can do that. But yeah, I agree. I think that's really important. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with putting a more positive, less individually marked grumpy tone on it.
All right.
I want to bring up the staffing limitation paragraph there.
Okay. All right.
OSAC provides the monies to underwrite some of the DPW workers
Mm-hmm.
for the purpose of using them to do the things we need them to
Oh,
do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
money
believe
comes out of
it's
the open
almost-
space
it's almost
trust
10
fund, right?
lines, isn't
Yeah.
it, John?
What's
So
that?
John,
It's almost 10 staff lines, isn't it? Is it not? Or is,
I don't know how many staff lines there are. I
all
thought it was 3
I-
or 4.
I think it's I think you're right, 3 or 4 full-time lines, but then there are also lines for summer
Yeah.
Right. Right.
help and so on, which apparently they didn't get this year.
That's a good point.
so John, what changes are you proposing for that paragraph? Those 2 paragraphs. What did you want to change?
Well,
It feels like we're giving them a bit of a caveat by saying, making them an excuse that staff is limited. Why is it limited? Open space is funding them. If they think they need more staff to meet the needs of trail maintenance and so forth, couldn't they approach open space and, look for more money? Is that maybe a direction that you're trying to go there, John, or am I interpret?
No, that's part of it.
Okay.
I think the major complaint is that
Hey, I want to hear
open
what
space
John's
is providing
thinking.
these
Let-
staff
let
lines
John
with open
finish.
stuff, but Public Works is not doing the job. And, you know, they're not doing the maintenance work on our trails that they should be doing. And
John, what were you trying to say?
How should we lay this out, I guess?
Without ticking
It
off
says that, yeah,
DPW,
the
yeah, okay.
manager and the consultant meet monthly to discuss needs for trails and open space. Yeah, the rest of that is just listing all these, but it makes reference to a staffing limitation, which there shouldn't be if they are using the money that we're giving them to do the work.
Okay.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
you're
and
saying,
having a whole section titled staffing limitations kind of sets a tone there.
Right.
So when I wrote staffing limitations, I think I was trying to basically say in a good way, like that we don't have enough staff doing the work, but like, putting it in a way that's like, we need more staff. And the Open Space Trust does pay for some of the workers' salaries, and they can ask OSAC for more money. The council makes the ultimate determination. So if OSAC says, "Oh yes, we recommend hiring 3 or 4 more people," the council could still say, "No, we don't. We're not going to do that." But yeah, that's kind of the process for it. So John, you would like to see this worded differently, so it basically says that we want more DPW workers, or what do you think is best?
Well, I think that it doesn't reference very much the maintenance of the trails, and that's what we're interested in, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, but here's a point. I mean, when you talk to Dominic, right, or Dominic,
Um,
Carl,
Beach.
Carl,
Carl
Dominic,
Hack.
Carl, it's Carl who you
Yeah.
talk to for DPW? Okay.
yeah.
So when you talk to him, and is he complaining that he doesn't have enough time for his staff to do the things we want him to do?
I mean, they're always saying, and I mean, I understand that the amount of workers they have for the amount of work that's in our town, they're spread thin for sure.
Well, if he's making that complaint, then why don't we, maybe we can change the wording here that, say instead of staff, I don't know what the wording should be, but something on the effect of, we, we've heard some concerns from, I don't know, I mean, I guess we don't want to throw DPW out in the public bus here, but
Right, right.
we've heard concerns that there's not enough, or there's too much work for DPW to get done with their current staffing.
Mhm.
This should be, we should make a recommendation to Open Space Committee, suggesting that additional funds be made available for additional DPW staff to focus on trail work. I don't know how we get to that in a way that doesn't say DPW is whining. I don't know how to get to that, but
you really should recognize that practically every open space meeting that I've attended, this complaint about DPW having staff and not doing the job has come up. I mean, it's just a standard part of the agenda. It's
Mhm.
and standard unwritten part of the agenda. And I get it that they don't have enough staff for the. I don't think it's a matter of them being poorly managed. And quite frankly, a lot of DPW's job is, I mean, they're maintaining our roads and our sewers and everything else. And
Snow plowing.
it is a big operation, and they have a big job. And I could understand where trails would be sort of a lowest priority in terms of what they consider they ought to be doing.
but I guess that's the point for Open Space to make that recommendation to council, and for council to make that decision and say, we don't prioritize trails enough to
Yeah.
approve more funding, or they do, right? They can make the decision how they want to make it. But I think we could make a recommendation. We could just say that, maybe the way to say it is, the TAC has noticed that, oftentimes competing priorities, means that trail maintenance gets bumped down to the bottom of the list quite regularly. And so this is, this is becoming a cumulative problem, and we're concerned, and we think that we're going to make a recommendation that open space consider more funding and make that recommendation to council, and just maybe leave it there.
Okay.
And then, I hope that wording was somewhat sensible.
Well, yeah, I think that you should also recognize that trails and open space are not the only people making the same complaint.
Well, fine, whatever.
know,
This is our trails plan, so
Shade,
it's only
yeah.
about what we think about it.
But,
So.
but the point I'm trying to make is that I think there's a sense among this community of committees that we have that open space funds is being used for public works activities where it really should come out of general tax funds.
I wouldn't make those kind of allegations in this plan.
Well, yeah.
We'd better have some, if you're going to put something like that in here, you better have some clear evidence backing that up.
No, I don't think you should put it in, but I think you should recognize that this is at the root of the problem. And yeah, if we could provide some wording that
I don't have any ways, as a committee member on this committee, I have no way to be able to assess that. All I can say is we feel that the priorities of trail maintenance are not being kept up with to the level we think they should be, and that we're recommending action by OSAC and the Township Council, and leaving it there, making no other implied accusations.
I have a suggestion.
I think your verbiage is a good one, Mark. I think that's probably how we ought to do this. Yeah, I don't think we should open up this,
whatever you're hearing otherwise, I don't think we should throw rumor mill onto or grumblings.
We are about 15 minutes over.
Yeah.
We were planning on stopping before this section. So I think that maybe we could all take a look at the wording of this and share with Tara, or come back to our next meeting, and we can massage the language for this section.
Did you get my wording, Tara?
I got it. Yep.
Okay.
I got it
All right.
down
Well,
here.
I'll leave it alone.
And then we
Tara,
can see.
what would be most helpful for you?
Before our next meeting, if you have comments, and you can email them to me or send them to me in a Word document, or however you want to send them to me, and then we can I can compile them. That would be helpful.
Sounds good.
Then we could merge the wording as we see fit.
Okay, that's great. I agree with Vanessa. We spent way too much time on that. That was good. Good.
We never spend enough time on this. This is why we're 4 years late.
But we've made more progress the last
We
4
have.
years. Yeah,
We have.
We're
We have.
on a good
Agreed.
path.
Tara,
Agreed.
Thank
you
you.
did a great job. Okay, let's go.
We're on a good pathways and trails plan.
Are
Okay,
we moving
so
on?
yes, we're
Moving
moving on. We're moving, but John, we appreciate your bringing that up, and we do want to address it, and we'll look at the revised language next time. And if others of us have other suggestions, we'll share it with Tara ahead of time.
Yeah.
We can finalize it, massage it next month.
Good.
Okay, so moving on the agenda, site plan review.
Yes, so site plan, so there was no site plan review for the last 2 EC meetings, which has been great. We have had a lot of public comments about the warehouses, as you can imagine. So we have a lot of comments about that. The one site plan that did come before us, all it is a McDonald's is taking over the Burger King that is on Easton Avenue. So there's really there's a change of ownership. They're making a few changes to parking, but nothing major. And then at the last meeting, we had absolutely nothing, which was nice for a change. It's been, I guess, well, I shouldn't say for a change. It's been slowing down a little bit, I noticed, because we had that boom of warehouse development, and we still do get quite a bit of comment about it, but nothing reviewed or sent last time. So once I have something else, I'll let you know.
I think my wife was telling me that there was some kind of organized meeting at the gazebo.
Oh, I heard something about
protesting
that.
these
Yeah.
warehouses.
Yes,
Uh,
I heard
2
it.
o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
That's what
Talk
it is?
tomorrow?
Yeah, Robin Saddam is apparently organizing this.
Huh.
So it's
2
we're
o'clock on
getting a
Thursday?
dishwasher installed, so I'm not sure we'll be able to be there. So
Okay. Okay, moving on, new business, adopt a trail program.
Okay, so I think the last meeting we were gonna talk about this, and that's why I put it on the agenda. So um I think Chuck, really you were interested in kind of maybe reviving this and talking about it. Is that right?
well, I think I've been doing quite a bit of work on trails, just on my own, just because I can do it, and I realize that it's not something others on the committee can do. But it has occurred to me that given the absence of maintenance by Public Works, and the fact that Public Works doesn't seem to want to, they want to do things their way and not in a way that necessarily is, I think, is benefiting the trails. It seems to me like we really, if we're going to keep these trails maintained, we're going to have to organize some type of volunteer activity to do some basic maintenance and monitoring on the trails. And previously there was this Adopt a Trail program that was put in. I have actually have spreadsheets of previous members of the Adopt a Trail program that were put together when they first organized the trails in the open space. I see that volunteer activity that could be done that would be beneficial would be types of things like removing hazardous invasives from the trails. For example, just going through and clipping multi-floor rows that's eye level across the trail paths at regular intervals, and other thorny stuff that gets on the trails. Also, monitoring trail markers and continue a program of keeping our trails well marked, and so on. Also, having groups that would go through and just look at the trails and monitor them, with the idea of looking for trees that are hanging over the trail that might create a dangerous situation, and telling Public Works about them and getting them to go in and remove them. And also just monitoring the condition of benches, for example, maybe even going in and repairing benches on the trails if we ever get benches back in. This is an activity that I've been doing with another volunteer organization called Canal Watch. We've actually been repairing benches. We've been rebuilding boat docks on the canal in Franklin Township, and so on. And it's something that I think we really need to have volunteer activity doing it, because I don't think we're going to be able to get Public Works to do it to the level that we really need. The problem with it is that in order for volunteer organization to work, you have to have somebody who will organize these volunteer activities. And you got to have some, individual who will contact the volunteer groups, ask them to go out and do basic trail maintenance of this type, just the clipping and so on. And I think that's one of the reasons that these programs fail, is that you don't have a person who's able to actually be the organizer, to be the doer. And I'm afraid it really comes down to Tara.
Right.
Would you be? It's almost like if we can't find somebody who would take on this task, it's almost like you would have to be the person who actually organizes these activities and keeps these groups in mind.
Right.
But it's a big job, I know, and it adds to, you've obviously got a very big job. It seems like the township keeps loading more and more stuff on you as it is. So I don't know. I just would like to try to figure out if there's some way we could do this. Volunteers can't do everything. I mean, we really do need public works to do some very heavy maintenance type work on our trails. But you know, I don't see any other way around it if we're going to keep our trails in good shape.
Right.
I've
Yeah.
also I guess I've actually been going around talking to volunteer groups of this type that have seemed to be effective in doing this. For example, there's the FOLOS, the Friends of Hopewell Valley Open Space, which is a 501c3 organization, volunteers, and they do a lot of volunteer maintenance activity on the Hopewell Township Open Space. There's also a group at at South Mountain Reserve. I actually was up there with a meeting with invasive species biologists, and that's another 501c3 organization that has done really effective work. They actually put up, they map the trails, they build new trails. They've got various committees. So one of them is their chainsaw gang, that they call it. And this is a group of people who've been certified with the use of chainsaws, and they go out and remove trees that have fallen across trails and so on. There are other crews that might actually go out and put in natural stepping stones in streams and keep those maintained by, getting piles of rock that are in the stream, organizing them together and creating stepping areas and so on. These get washed away. You got to get a crew to come back and after the spring rains and redo them and so on. But there are organizations that do work and in the area, and I don't know if we can encourage the formation of an organization like this out of our Adopt a Trail program or what. But it's something I think we really need to consider if we're going to keep our trails and restored and maintained.
Yeah.
The late John Clyde, in conjunction with John Luce, were part of a Friends of Franklin Trail organization that predates this committee. And
Yeah,
they had a budget.
I know that organization.
They had a budget and so forth, and I think they still had money in the account somewhere, and I don't know what happened to it after John Clyde passed away. But
did they actually go to the point of forming a 501c3?
I think they did because they collected some money in together or whatever and had a bank account. So
501c3 is a type of corporation. It's a nonprofit that allows you to collect money through dues or contributions.
I think the other big question I'd have is, like this chainsaw gang, how on earth did they get whatever township or county they're in to okay that? Because the township here had all kinds of, it was you have to sign this big legal waiver to just do Adopt a Trail, and that was just to do simple stuff like clipping.
That's right.
And marking and so forth.
I don't know how that was organized, but I can send you a copy of the brochure that's nicely printed on Tyvek, in fact. So it's waterproof and it lists all of these different organizations.
It's great they got a chainsaw gang, but I mean, I'm just curious how that flies legally.
Yeah, well, I'd like to. It's a county. Essex County apparently approved this, and it's an organization that works with Essex County's parks.
Hey, Chuck, do you know? So one of the things you brought up was somebody to oversee this, right? That's a huge obstacle.
It's big.
So, who in these other towns is overseeing these programs? Do you know?
Good question.
Like, is this something that like a trails committee, like, is that something that we would like? I guess a part of me that I was listening to you describe the tasks, a lot of it as far as like monitoring, walking, reporting, like that's something that each of us, as we've adopted a trail joining the committee, we've agreed to do.
yeah.
So that
Mhm.
part, and then reporting that to Public Works. You know, I know when I first started the committee, I was told to use one of the paper maps and literally circle on there and write on there, you know, where they needed to go to do that work. And then that would be relayed to them. I know the obstacle we're talking about before is uh Public Works, and do they have the staffing? Do they have the priorities of trails? And so I think that's another conversation, right? Like, you know, figuring out like, okay, if there's this open space money, is it being applied for staffing to allow this work to happen? And I think that's not something we need to look into to determine. But then I don't know. So if that was all happening, that would not adopt a trail would not be as necessary as it is right now because that work isn't happening. Is that accurate?
Um, Actually, if Public Works would do what was needed to be done and had the funding and the staff to do it and the motivation to do it, we wouldn't need any of this. You know, we could just go out and, you know, say, you know, tell Public Works this needs to be done, and they would do it. It doesn't seem to be happening that way.
No, I understand.
So if you look on the screen, so I pulled up two adopt a trail programs. The one you're looking at now is Hunterdon
They were
County.
there?
The
Let me-
person, Vanessa, to answer you, the
I'll be
person
right with you.
that does the overseeing of this program is called the recreation leader. So in Hunterdon County, they have a staff person that you sign up for the program with and they oversee it. Hunterdon counties, it seems like it's pretty easy going. Like, hey, we want you to adopt a trail. We'll tell you where to go, and you kind of report what's going on to this person, and they then kind of like take care of it. Or I guess it's picking up trash, easy maintenance they're allowed to do. If you look at Hunterdon County, I'm sorry, Morris County, they run it through their park commission.
Yeah.
And they have a whole manual, and it basically says you could be all these different types of people. You can be a watcher, which means you basically report things. You can be an ambassador, which is where you like are kind of like providing education and guidance. A keeper is you're doing general maintenance on assigned trails, and then they have a trails fund series. I guess you kind of lead like programs and stuff. But
Yeah.
in their manual here, they give you a whole thing of how you should dress and what you should do. But as you go, I'm just scrolling down to the bottom, they kind of give you information on like this is how you should inspect something and here's how often. Um, this is an equipment list that you need here, right? And then they explain to you where you should be cutting things and where not. See? So it
Yeah.
depends, I guess, on what kind of program we would want to initiate. Do we want people
Yeah.
to just go out there and
Oh,
report to us?
yeah, and actually, you know, maybe this is something we ought to talk with Parks and Recreation about. I mean, I've been thinking that we need to really get Parks and Recreation to adopt our trail system as part of their own turf, not just the athletic fields, but our trails as well.
Well, I would, you know what I would
And-
recommend, Chuck, if you don't mind me saying, I kind of like this Morris County Parks one. It looks like it's pretty, they've really done a lot of work and research. Maybe we should try and reach out to them and see if we can talk to them about how do they run it, what kind of staff do they use, what's their correspondence with DPW,
Yeah.
is it successful? And maybe we can kind of model off of them because it looks like they've kind of like invented the wheel.
This looks great.
Yeah.
And it's obviously they've worked through this problem. So I'd
So if
be
you want, I can try and set up a meeting with the people at Morris County Parks to see if we can get, a better understanding from them. How does it, because I would really need, I mean, I think if we were to present something like this down the road to OSAC to get funding for it, I think it's something the township could potentially fund, but we will need information. Like, for example, how much time is it going to take someone to oversee this program? And does that mean that it's me, or does that mean that they need another person to do this?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that's the other thing. Would we actually need to hire a staff person for this particular activity?
They all the examples you gave have employees who are responsible point
They
people for
do.
those programs. So, I mean, that's a key thing. So if it's going to
Right.
be development at Parks and Rec or something else here, that's kind of like the key building block here, because
Yeah.
it's obviously beyond our scope. I think it's beyond your scope, Tara, unless you've got more hours to do it if you want it. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But it sounds like it's a committed personnel issue.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But this might be something good for someone at recreation to do, because they do have a lot of part-time workers. So maybe there's a way,
Yeah.
because I don't think is a full-time job, but I mean, a part-time, there might be an existing part-time person. I don't know, I'm not sure.
Exactly. It might fit somewhere.
Or maybe it's like some kind of partnership with Somerset County Park Commission.
Yeah. Well, I would like to explore, how talk to these people and ask how they got that, how they got this going,
Okay.
and how they get it done. I
Okay.
think
How many people are involved? And I'd like to know how many people are actually involved right now.
yeah.
I
I would
will,
also be curious to look in townships with similar demographics as us as well. Like, as far as more affluent, less affluent, mid-affluent, like just because I know that volunteerism can vary differently based on some of that information.
Sure.
Yeah, so from what I looked at, Vanessa, early on, everything I can find, here's our old one. It looks like most of these are run through the county, because I think it's a pretty big
Well,
undertaking. Not saying that we can't, but I mean, that's the thing. Maybe we talk to Morris County, see how they do it. And we could, here's Union County. I mean, we could talk
does
to a bunch
Somerset
of
County have
people.
something?
No, not that immediately comes up.
Because I mean, our county, we're not wealthy, but our county's wealthy.
Yeah.
So like we
Very
could
wealthy.
capitalize on that.
They have a pretty good park commission staff as well. So maybe like we find out how does this work, and maybe we can approach
Yeah.
Somerset County for a partnership with them.
Yeah.
See,
And
the
maybe,
Sounds
chainsaw.
good.
and
Yeah,
I'm
they
just
have it.
thinking about what was their last plan that we had looked at, the whole run, walk, bike plan.
Oh yeah, the bike hike, and yeah, that was the
Through
county.
Somerset County.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of the other, there might be another opportunity within that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna look into getting some
Yeah.
more information from them, and we'll
Yeah.
revisit this
Yep.
our next meeting?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Any other comments before we move on to old business? Okay, so we are at 8:34. So we have about 25 minutes left.
Okay. I can go through everything pretty quick if you want.
Sounds good.
All right. So trail walks, we have had a few trail walks. The one that was originally going to be earlier in October, we rescheduled because of rain, was the Walk with a Cop at Inman Park. It was well attended. Officer Don Flanders was there, and Officer Jeremy, I didn't get his last name, but they were excellent. They were super engaged with everyone, took a lot of questions. I'm glad they were able to see Inman Park, because the paint blazes are done there, and the signs are up that explain how to read the paint blazes. So that was good news. And yeah, I think it was a great I think it was awesome. Like, I really enjoyed it, So and I know Chuck, you did some walks as well. I know Anna did some walks.
Yeah, we did 3 trail walks for 55 plus seniors and families. And we took them on the Yellow Trail at Butler Road was our last one, and also on the Graber Woods Trail and another one I've already forgotten. These are October fall color walks. But did you get my email, Tara and Vanessa? Don Flanders and Gloria Fedicaro want to do another walk with a cop.
Yes.
And I suggested to them that we organize this with the Princeton Highlands subdivision on that red trail that goes through the subdivision.
Mm.
And there's considerable interest among the people in that subdivision. And Gloria really liked this idea because that's the trail where that autistic child got lost. And there was lots of police activity out there looking for the child. In the this
Yes, I'm still on the
child
call. Can I
actually.
interrupt? Please step back.
Hello.
Hey, Chris, you're not muted.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, it's
the-
past his bedtime.
yeah, the child was from that subdivision, and they actually walked up the Brown Trail and got lost in the Griggstown trail area there,
Oh, geez.
and so on. And
So
so
Chuck,
there's
you're looking to do the hike there, the next hike with the cop there?
that next hike with a cop there, but I really want this to be, Tara to be involved in this. I think we need Trails Committee involvement as well as Parks and Recreation and the Police Department on this particular hike.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, I'm happy to help out with that. I saw your email. So I will today. I had to take the day off for something, but I will definitely get back to it tomorrow.
Sure enough. So anyway, yeah, I think Gloria contacted Dawn and about times that she would be able to do it,
Okay.
but we haven't heard anything yet about it. But
Okay.
I don't want us to lose our own ownership of this.
Yeah. I'll
this
follow up with
program.
her for sure. I'll follow up with Dawn and we'll figure it out. That'll be great. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to note, Chuck, I was able to join you on a couple hikes, and I just really want to recognize the hikes that you're leading and how well attended they are. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
had
yeah,
like
great
5 or
attendance,
6
yeah.
people at the Inman hike. I mean, Chuck, you have about 20, 30 people
Yeah.
coming to these fall hikes. And I
Yeah.
think that you've really been building up a nice following and real advocates for the trails. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. No, there's a great deal of interest, and a lot of these are actually older people who would like to get out on the trails, but they're afraid to go out on it by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing a really good thing by showing them the trails and showing them what they need to do on the trails and getting so we can get the public out there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
And I just want to continue to advocate for hikes in our more densely populated parts of town. And thinking about that, I was able to do the hike on the towpath at DeMott Lane. Unfortunately, the timing of it was same timing as one of Chuck's hikes, so I only had 4 people come, but it was lovely. It was like peak October autumn leaves day on the canal, so it was fantastic. But I definitely want to. I know that some of our more trails that are the jewel of the town, so to
Right.
speak,
God.
tend to be in the southern part of town. But I think that having hikes on the Inman Trail, having hikes, even at Naaman Williams Park, I'd love to see a hike with a cop there. I'd love to see some other hikes, even just going around the park, the park trail there, just to make sure we're really casting a broad net to our entire community.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Alrighty. What else do we have here? So the expanding land near existing parks to access nature. So that's part of our local health assessment, what has come out of it, I should say. And that's like an ongoing project, is that we are continuing to look at land that is, we can access nature where it's near existing parks, like the trail we talked about at Naaman Williams Park. So that work is still ongoing. We haven't really done much with that trail yet at Naaman Williams Park, but I think that's definitely on the horizon. I spoke to Vanessa. She had mentioned about having advanced signage for the trails, which I am working with DPW to get the signs made. We do have a sign machine in-house to make the signs. And so I'm trying to get those signs made soon. So working on that.
This is something other than the paint?
Yeah, this is like advanced trail signage, basically saying like like showing
The
you that
hiker
trail's
person
coming
with the
up. Yeah.
sticks.
Yep, we need more of those advanced trails, yeah.
Okay.
The local health
So
assessment and action.
remember, Mark, remember we're talking about putting that like on Easton Avenue near the Demont Lane towpath? Like just so signage, so people are, with the arrow heading towards where the trailhead is.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that? Yes, that's what that's about. Is just like putting those out like we have on South Middlebush where 6 Mile Run crosses.
Right.
Okay. Got it. All right. That makes sense. Thank you.
Hey Tara, just going back to B for a second. Can you and I connect? I know I had shared, you had shared with me that that plan that Parks and Rec had done.
Oh, that yeah, that was through Rutgers. Rutgers did that plan. Yep.
So they had done an assessment. It was something about
Crime prevention through land use. So how to prevent crime in open spaces through strategic land use planning.
and so that had already been taken, that had already been done through a grant that Safi had worked on with previously. And there was actually in that report, there is a recommendation to put a trail in Naaman Williams Park.
Mm-hmm.
So that really kind of supports that idea that we had talked about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so Tara, if you and I could like kind of go over that together and maybe just plan, help, if you could just help me a little bit think that through as far as next steps for
Yeah.
promoting that.
Got it. Yep. Perfect. I'm just taking a note. Okay. Got it. All right. Yep, we can do that for sure.
Thanks.
All right. The local health assessment. So we're continue working on that project. We are almost done with the focus groups. So we still have the survey out. We have hosted 4 different focus groups. We have one coming up next week, 2 the week after that, and then we're hoping to do 3 virtual focus groups to collect data. And then we're ready to put the assessment together. And from the assessment, we can generate the action plan, which is basically going to be land use planning steps on how we can make health more equitable as a priority across the township. The one thing that I can share at this point is that in every focus group we've had, so I've had a focus group from the low income senior housing. I've had a focus group at Renaissance Senior Housing, which is not really a resident Renaissance community, I'll call it. We've met with the Franklin Women Club. We had a group of environmentalists, I guess it would be called. So in all of those groups, even though they're kind of different, and I'm sorry, we had one with parents of school children. The number one answer that comes through as a barrier to health is transportation. And it's transportation not just for people that don't have a car or don't have a bike, but that there's a major lack of transportation in and around the township, and also that some of the roads are not really friendly to people who are walking or biking. So I think that was interesting because it comes from seniors to school age parents to all kinds of people. And so that has been enlightening. But yeah, so we'll continue to work on that and get the assessment together. Safi and I were asked to speak at the League of Municipalities next week about the project, so we'll be speaking there. And yeah, so far it's going great. Learning a lot. So
Great.
what else is here? Oh, GPS mapping of trails. So I'm still working with AT. He's getting pulled into a bunch of different projects, as you can
Please don't
imagine.
interrupt me.
But
No,
the
please don't
Inman
interrupt.
one is done and the brochure has been updated. So the brochure is updated, has the new map on it.
Kristen,
Um,
you're gonna be in
so
trouble.
the paint blazes are done,
Please
which
don't
has
do
been
this.
great.
Why are you interrupting me?
But still waiting for the GPS trails maps to be done. So he's working as fast as he can. So hopefully we get, a bunch in a row. So yeah, so that takes care of that. I have to go back to my agenda here. What else is here?
Paint
Oh.
blazes.
Paint blazes, yes. So I did the ones at Inman. I know I gave Chuck one of the paint cans. I don't know if you've been able to get out there yet, Chuck. Don't, it's no major, don't feel crazed about it. But yeah, that's what we got done. The one thing I will say as a reference, and I'm glad I caught this when I only was like 10 feet down the trail. When if you go out and you're painting a blaze, just remember that at the same time you should paint the one going backwards, because I got halfway, not halfway, I got like 10 feet down and I was like, oh, I better go back and paint the other side of the tree, because otherwise you're gonna have to go back twice. So it's just like something I didn't think about until I actually got out there. Um, if you're interested in painting the blazes, I have all the paint, I have the brushes, so I can get that to you if you're interested or you have time to do Inman, all of Inman. And I think I went a little, I think I did more paint blazes than I needed to, but it took me about like 2 hours alone. So, and that was one whole one. So, you know.
Yes, I am interested and I would like to. But I mean,
Okay.
time during your office hours, right?
Yeah, well, just you know what? I only really go in when I have meetings or if I have something scheduled. But if you tell me a time that's good for you, I can meet you there. And I just need to know which trail you're doing so I give you the right paint.
Great. And another question was, at what minimum temperature can we paint? Considering
I don't know actually. That's a good, I'll have to look at the paint can. I have it upstairs in my office. I'm down in the basement now, but I will check. That's a good question. The nice thing about the paint we got, it's very thick, so it doesn't really require two coats, which is great. Um, the only other thing I didn't do, which I wish I would have done, is I didn't bring like a backpack. I think having the backpack would have been a little more feasible, but I really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day when I went out there. It was very peaceful, so yeah. But we'll
You did
get
a
it
great
done.
job, Sarah. It's great.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. We'll
Good
get
stuff.
it done. It takes time. It really does take time. So I get it. But if we can get the mapping done and the paint blazes done. Oh, for example, one last thing. I think we should do John Clyde last, only because I was there. I went just to inspect it the other day. There's a section where yellow, red, and orange meet on John Clyde. And I think we may want to consider changing those colors, only because when they fade, it's very hard to tell the difference between our, at least to me. And I know sometimes I do have a like weird color thing going on, but for me, when the colors fade, orange and red look very similar. So
Yeah.
I was thinking we might want to change the colors in that set, maybe change blue and red, or I don't know. We can think about it, but maybe we paint there last.
Hmm,
So that was it.
great. So yeah, the next thing is updates on trail conditions.
Okay. Yep. Oh, I have something to add to updates of trails and I know we're running late, so you guys can send this to me separately if you want, but I did speak to Carl right before today's meeting, and he said that the benches are in, the benches that are in the first slew. Now there's seven. There's only seven right now that are here, but he wants to know where do we want these benches placed. So, I don't know if
Do we have seven that probably need to be replaced and they can go right where they already were?
I would think so. I know
have
that
more than
Bunker
seven.
Hill, there was some at Bunker Hill that we
There's
knew
two or
needed.
three at John Clyde, at
Okay.
least.
There's at
I
least
know,
2 or 3 at Negri.
yeah, and I know Vanessa had mentioned Bunker Hill, so I mean,
Yeah.
we might have them all wiped out pretty quickly.
So is there a priority spot that like I can tell Carl to start with, and then because we only have seven right now?
I think that I know the ones that we've reported earliest were the John Clyde grasslands and Negri. So although I am missing one at Bunker Hill. Like at this point, they put the they put the garbage can there where that bench was.
Oh
So
no.
it's not as like obviously missing. There's one other one. So anyhow, so I think that I know from last I saw at Griggstown, like that was the worst looking to me, like that sunset bench, that was a real problem. It was like,
And that's bitch is gone, and I think that should be first priority,
that's
actually.
what I think.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
think.
do too.
And
All right. So the
Agreed.
benches at John Clyde
And
that
then
need to be
Negri, I
replaced,
think.
then Negri, then Bunker Hill, and then the next slew of them that come in, we can do there. So If anyone knows of exactly where those benches are that needs to be replaced, then you can like circle it or tell me exactly on a map. I mean, I can go out and do it, but if it's like, if you know where it is and you can tell me, that would be great. You can tell me after the meeting, just email me, then it'll save me a little time. If not, because he wants me to basically mark it out on the site and he wants me to circle it on a map and send it to him. So I have to do both of those things. So yeah, if you have benches that you know of, let me know like tomorrow if you can, and this way I can get it to him. Because while they're here, I want them to get put in.
So, are you gonna, is he wanting you to put a paint marker on the ground where the bench actually should be located?
Yeah.
And, which is good. Uh, but, also that sunset bench area, for example, I think they ought to put a gravel bed in front of the bench because it gets very muddy
Right. Okay.
right in that, right
There's a
in that
big
area.
hole there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
fill in the hole. And,
That's a good idea to kind of add, yeah, level that up, put some rock down. That might be a great idea.
Okay, I can do that. I can tell him that. Yeah. Add
And
a
gotta
gravel,
get away from here.
add gravel
Kristen,
area
do not talk to me right now.
in front of bench.
well, the benches at Griggstown are memorial benches. Can we do something about replacing the plaques there?
Yes, we can definitely. I will have to like figure out the plaques at the memorial benches. Okay. I'm just
And
writing this
can,
down.
and can opportunities for new additional memorials be opened up? So benches that aren't necessarily have memorials on them could? Because then, I mean, you could actually ask some, you could make it that if somebody's willing to donate the cost of the bench, then we can cover that money and use it to buy more benches and fix
I
other
agree.
benches.
Yes, that is something that we have to definitely, I have to talk to the financial officer about that, about how we can accept money and all that. And that is on my list of things to
Right, because
tackle.
per a prior dated email, I want to be first in queue on that list,
Yes.
please.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right. I will definitely put that on my list for sure. Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Got it.
Okay, I don't have anything to report for my trail. There's one thing I was, Chuck, as you were talking before about adopt a trail, I was thinking also about like I know I volunteer and do trail maintenance with Jorba, even though I'm not a Jorba person. And so like they have these great, they just put together. Essentially it's like organizing a hike and people just come out, you have extra shears and you just hit the trails. And I'm thinking we might want to, until this adoptive trail thing is going, we might want to just put, get a couple trail maintenance hikes going, and maybe we could involve the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, and just kind of as a Band-Aid. So I just wanted to share that in lieu of
There
my
are actually
silver
local
board.
hiking clubs as well, the Tri-State Ramblers, which is an
Yeah.
old New Jersey hiking club. There are members in Township who are interested in our trails. And we actually had a couple of them come out and do work on the Yellow Trail early this spring.
Yeah, I think that even like, with the hikes that we've been doing, if we had, I bet you they would sign up for a trail maintenance one. If we had extra shears and clippers, I bet you just do it as we're walking.
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
really, that spring event we had, they loved it. They thought that was the most fun, and so on. So I think we
That might
really
be an
can't,
easier, that might be an easier lift.
right?
Yeah. I like it.
So,
I
Does
wonder
anyone
if we
else?
could ask OSAC for some money for shears and equipment that we need.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. I mean, yeah, we can definitely ask for that.
My mother has a ton in her garage if that doesn't work out. A ton.
I could briefly share my screen to show where I think two of the benches are in John Clyde.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me get you here. All right. Privileges. You should be able to share the, okay, let's see if that'll let you apply. Okay, does it let you share now?
Says I cannot unless the host, co-host, or presenter makes me the presenter.
Oh, okay. Let me make you the presenter. Oh, I'm putting John Hurling as, my bad. Hang on one sec. I went one up. Okay.
Maybe John has it on his screen. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
It
let me
should be
give it a
coming
shot.
over.
Let me give it a shot here. Yes, that one. Can you see? I put
Yes.
Yes.
I put two little red circles on. They're both. That's the one. Two of the ones I know of. Am I
Actually,
missing
Mark,
anything?
there's one on the red trail. Your arrow is right on it. Your cursor is right on it. No, that's my cursor. Sorry about that. The red trail, the middle red trail, the one the blue trail feeds into directly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there's a bench right in the middle. It's between the D of red and T of trail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perfect. Let me take
Right
a,
there.
yeah, let me take a print.
Yes.
So there isn't one at the corner also, or
Oh,
is
that's the
there?
sunset bench.
In which corner is there one at I thought there was one at each of these corners.
I don't believe so. Not in the far corner. The sunset
okay.
bench is that's not the sunset bench. The other one is the sunset bench.
All
Okay.
right, I just X'd that one out, I guess.
That's fine. Perfect. Thank
There's
you.
there's also a bench over in the red trail top line there that goes near the John Clyde Jr. Trail.
Is that like up here?
It's actually no. Again, it's between the D of the red and the T of the trail. Actually, maybe
Where is
maybe
it?
closer to the R of the red. No, one up. There you go, in that area. About where the R is on the red.
Oh.
It's actually sort of in the trees, underneath the
Okay.
trees.
I thought there was one on Yellow Trail too, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere up there.
Don't know about that one. Yes, and all of those three benches that you just marked were memorial benches put in for an Eagle Scout, Mark, that died. They were put in by his friends, and we have the original plaques, which were plastic and pretty much broken down. Yeah, we would like to get those.
I have a memory of there being one somewhere like up here on the Yellow Trail too.
Can't remember about that.
So we have about a minute left. Are there any
Okay.
other trail reports that we want to squeeze in?
I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Mark. That
Just
helps.
quickly, Negri was plowed. I mean,
Oh, mode. Yep.
road. Thank you. Pretty comprehensively. And the mower was strong enough that it took down some of the calorie pears and other small shrubs and stuff. So I thought that was
Yes.
very helpful.
That was the new mower.
Yeah, that worked out well.
The
Someone
brush
put
hog?
out,
It's a
Also,
tail mower.
Gregstown has also been mowed.
Yeah, I know.
I got out there when Connor, the public works guy, I guess he's Carl Houck's second in command, was doing the mowing with that new Batwing mower, which he really liked.
Yeah, he did a great, it really looks, both places look great, I think. So yeah, that's good.
Hopefully we can get a burn going, and then
Yeah,
the following years do half and half on the mows.
yeah, I hope so. Yeah. We're first on the list apparently. So
Here's hoping.
yeah. Okay.
What's the date of our next trails meeting?
Hang on. It is, where's my calendar? Here we go. December 14th.
Okay. Okay. Great. All right.
Is that one remote again?
That one is remote, yes.
Okay.
And
great.
then so at that meeting, we'll have to decide on our schedule for next year. So everyone, I guess, decide if you like having the hybrid schedule like this. We want to continue this way. We can talk about it next time, but it'll be on the agenda.
Great. All right. Can we have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
I make a motion to
Yep.
adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain or nays? All right. Motion carries. Thank you all so much for volunteering this evening and helping us with our trails. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
everybody.
you for